Welcome to Business as a Magical Practice, where your business is the vehicle for your self-integration and soul evolution. My name is Sam Garcia, and I'm the founder of Dirty Alchemy Digital Marketing. And I'll be guiding you through how you can use your business as a spiritual practice and what magical businesses are doing to hit their goals and change the world. Together, we'll be relating the mystical to the world of business so that our work can unite spirit and matter, shadow and light, conscious and unconscious. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, I am really excited to welcome to Business as a Magical Practice, the podcast, Elyna Anderson of Bloom Lucid. If you do not know Elyna, she specializes in growing businesses that operate from your individual nature. Combining her academic background in physical geography and her decade of business support for powerful leaders, she developed Bloom Lucid. She believes that by following Earth's creative processes, you can scale your work with greater satisfaction and ease. So welcome, Elyna.
Hi, Sam. It's so good to be here.
I work closely with Elyna, so we're going to see where this conversation goes. Hopefully, totally inappropriate, wild things happen. We'll see.
Sign me up.
So, Elyna, you just launched your website with a quiz, and you have been doing a lot of this work behind the scenes with your clients for years, and now you're actually stepping forward as its own brand, as its own company. And one of the super fun things that I want to cover first is the topics that is your quiz. And you go through, and people can go and take the quiz. You can go take the quiz right now on Elyna's website, which is bloomlucid.com, and find out which of the 6 ways the earth creates new landforms you are. And I mean, tell me about this whole concept, Elyna.
I had a lot of fun making my quiz. Yeah, I worked backwards with this quiz, and I was thinking about, I work with women, and I was thinking about the type of women who I've worked with and who have come my way, and what their different styles are. Because, yeah, I guess I should say first that I'm endlessly fascinated with the earth and endlessly drawn to how to stay connected to it and what it has to teach us. And when I say earth, I should also say, I think a lot of people, when someone says earth, we're thinking of water and trees and some mountains, and great. But my background, I graduated from UC Berkeley in physical geography. So for like 4 years, I was in the trenches with deep earth. And when I think of earth, I'm actually thinking of inside the earth. So like the core, the inner core, the outer core, the mantle, the crust, and the surface of the earth, which is the trees and the water and the mountains, is actually just, this beautiful edge. And so I say this because I'm humbly learning that what I consider earth is very different than what other people think of when they think of earth. So yes, that whole system of inner earth to outer earth is what I'm always fascinated by. And so I've known I wanted to connect business and what I see as kind of earth wisdom, and I'm figuring out how to do it. And so I had a lot of fun with this quiz because it was like, great, this is the way I can start to really dive in. So I worked backwards, and I worked with, okay, who comes my way? How do they do things? What is their style? Like, what is their essence? How do they think? How do they operate? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And as I was just ruminating on that, these 6 different styles of how Earth literally creates land showed up, and they just overlapped. Boom, 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 boom. So that's how it all got started.
Well, and can you explain your own side-by-side comparison of how the earth is creating from this molten core, and us as visionary female founders are doing the same thing in our own different ways?
Yeah, definitely. So the simple concept is that the core, it's the earth, the heat of the earth is in the core, and really the core of this planet is actually solid iron.
Mm.
And the core of this planet is actually as hot as the surface of the sun, so it's incredibly hot. um, and the heat from the inside of the earth is the force that is moving everything on the surface of the earth. So it's the heat from the core of the earth that's moving things in the mantle, that's making new lava form on the surface of the earth. So there's kind of these systems going on. I like to think of it as a coffee cup, and like you have a hot coffee cup, and it's black coffee, and you pour cream, and you watch. If you just don't stir it and you watch it, the cream kind of does that undulating circulating. That's what the earth's doing with heat. So the heat's like coming up and going down and coming up and doing things and making things happen. And so to me, that's a very, like, I look at the earth as a feminine planet. And then I think about women, business creators, business owners, and it's like, okay, great. That's how the earth creates. So inside of us, if we look at us as from this earth, of this earth, having earth wisdom in us, which I believe is true, then for us, we would want our cores really like to keep them hot and to keep what we're passionate about and what matters to us quite alive. And that business is then the surface of the earth, and we're getting that passion and we're getting that heat out to the people around us. And then that energy again cycles back and forth.
So what happens if the heat doesn't get out for us?
Oh my God. Oh my God. It makes us crazy. It makes us crazy. It makes us crazy. It also, I think, it can do a variety of things. I think it can make us depressed, actually. I think it can, I say crazy in like a jovial way, but sometimes it's really not jovial. But this sense that I know for me, my heat was going and going and going, but I hadn't yet gotten it to the edges of myself. And so I just found myself looping on thoughts all the time in my own brain and thinking and thinking and thinking. And Sam's nodding because Sam watched me through this whole process, or a lot of it. Yeah, so that energy didn't really have anywhere to go. It just was staying inside of me. And I'm grateful I had it. I'm grateful I had the heat, because it was knocking loud enough that I had to figure out how to get it out. But I think a lot of people, I think the heat can also get shut down really early in life, especially as women. And there's a solid initiation in life of reclaiming the heat to begin with.
Mm, that's beautiful. So
Mm-hmm.
with these can we go through the 6 different ways that the earth creates
I'd love to.
and like
Yeah,
relates to us as business owners?
I would love to. We can go down the list. How about we start with your type?
I've taken a quiz, guys.
Sam was one of my biggest inspirations in creating one of the types.
It was actually like the biggest oh thank God moments when I took the quiz, and she was like, oh, I'm so glad you got the thing that I
yeah, it was like, oh, the quiz works, good. Great. Yeah, so let's start there. So Sam's type is a shield volcano. And a shield volcano is the kind of volcano that's formed the Hawaiian Islands, which is where Sam lives. So it's kind of not surprising in a certain way. And a lot of time, like very commonly, when we think of a volcano, we think of like a explosive, dangerous, tall, towering volcano. And that is actually not a shield volcano. So we'll get to that kind of volcano in a minute. It's another type. But the shield volcano is, they're not actually that tall. above water. So actually, Hawaii is very tall because it goes through the entire ocean. But what we often, they're not always Hawaiian islands and island chains, but they often are. But what we see of them is more of like a sloping, a, a, a soft sloping mountain instead of a towering tall mountain. And the way they operate is by doing lava flow after lava flow after lava flow. And the lava flows aren't explosive. They ooze out and they cover a vast expanse of land. And then another one comes and it's another layer. So I like to think of these business owners, these creative women, as the empire builders, actually. That's my little tagline in my own head for them because they work really steadily and they're really deliberate. They're really deliberate in what they do, and they like to do something, figure it out, get it really well handled, get it locked in, and then do the next thing. They're not scattered. They are very discerning. They're very strategic. They have the capability of building really large and advanced things because they have that style of just doing it bit by bit. I think of Oprah and I think of Beyonce as also shield volcano people. Yeah, I think that's my little synopsis.
Yeah, so when I read the little after taking the quiz, like you're taken to this little explanation page, and I remember like the one sentence that I remember from the page was just about how it's about consistent action, and it is really one of the things that I feel like has gotten me so far in the last few years. Is it's like, if you can, exactly what you're saying actually with the overthinking thing, if you can get out of overthinking and just do continual testing and continual action, and not like you're overworking, but you're just like, I'm okay with B+ work. I'm okay with it not being perfect. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to keep on being in a relationship. I'm going to keep on interacting with other people. I'm going to keep on, and over time you get better. Over time you build systems, and then suddenly you can move over to this other area. Then you can move over to this other area. So it totally resonated with me. So I'm actually curious to hear all the other ones too, because I'm like, yeah, that's me. Great.
Yeah, totally. And one thing I'll throw in there for people who are shield volcanoes and like you, it's like you kind of always have to stay in the middle. And as you continue to grow, you want people on your team that can truly take over entire departments and report back to you. Yeah. Okay. So the other volcano, we'll just stay on the volcano thread for a moment. The other volcano is called a stratovolcano. And that is the kind of volcano that most of us think of when we think of volcanoes. So to give you some examples, Mount Fuji, Mount Shasta, Mount Rainier, Krakatoa that exploded in Indonesia however long ago. Technically, Krakatoa was the loudest sound ever recorded on the planet by people. Stratovolcanoes are incredibly powerful, incredibly, we would say destructive, like our modern day language would say destructive, but like personally I kind of do like a face palm every time.
In terms of landmass, it's highly constructive. Right?
There we go.
Yeah.
It's highly constructive in terms of
creating new earth
things. Yeah. Definitely. And creating new earth, and also changing the way the earth looks. It can do wild things, like they can, if they're on the ocean, they can cause huge tsunamis, which then affect other places. They spew a huge amount of ash into the air, which can like literally cover the entire planet. And then that ash falls and changes things. So they have a huge impact. And as you would assume, people that are stratovolcanoes are very fiery, very fiery. So I like to think of these business owners and creative women as the people that have something to say. Like they have a transmission, they have a message that 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 it's like their whole lifestyle of being actually is this different way, and they tend to be really outspoken. They like putting things on social media and in emails and stuff that are provocative. Like their nature is a provocative nature. Like a lot of their engagement comes from purposefully like kind of sending a heat a heat into people and then seeing how it responds, and they can take a lot of heat back. So there are people also that like might get in trouble on the internet in certain ways, and they don't care, like it's like that's the reason for being on the planet.
Well, it seems like
um
the innovators and like the industry disruptors almost. If they're these like big,
Industry
like creating
disruptors is a
complete new
great way of
environments,
saying it.
right?
Yes, yes, yep. And and the way that they work behind the scenes is it can look pretty sporadic to someone else. Like you, for example, as a shield volcano, if you saw the inside of their business, which you probably have seen because I bet you've worked with some of these people, you might look to you like, how the hell have they ever stayed organized? Like they're hopping from one thing to the next thing, and but somehow it does work, and for people like that, they want to hire people to come in and help make systems and structures. Like that's not their genius, nor should it be. But yeah, they're a type of person that might have like forgotten their passwords to a lot of different things because they signed up for a bunch of different system stuff, and then none of it, they never really fully landed in any of it. So they're like, I just don't know.
So who are our famous examples for this one?
Oh gosh. I feel like Ariana Grande actually might be
Oh,
some stratovolcano vibes. I feel like yeah, like Diana
Lady
Ross,
Gaga?
definitely. I actually was just thinking Lady Gaga when you said that, when I said
But you're
Ariana
kind of
Grande,
no,
and
so huh? What is she?
I can totally see it, and I feel like she has some other things in there too. Um, but yeah, like the powerhouses. I look at them as powerhouses. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing about the stratovolcanoes is they always have ideas. They like this idea of tapping into your truth, or what do you want to say. For a lot of us, that's a whole endeavor, and for them, that's like an endless transmit. They're like, oh, great, give me a pen and paper.
I love it. Okay, cool. What's our third one?
We'll go to mountain rivers. I'm a mountain river. Um, and mountain rivers, they like to do things really deeply. So it's their blessing and their curse. They'll just like how a river. So a mountain river. The reason like a river canyon can be so deep is because over thousands and thousands of years, that same waterway has been carving its way through that landscape. So often mountain rivers, like above it is trees, but then when you actually get to the river, it's just rock because the water pathway is carved so deeply. So in the same way with a person, the blessing and the curse is that you can go so deep, and that you want a system or a pathway or a methodology or like a channel, like a specific channel of a type of information. And so these people end up making beautiful systems. They can be some of the deepest of teachers.
And you mean system mainly by like frameworks and methodologies, right? Or could it be any?
Yes, good point.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not like organization systems,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Because I'm
but
imagining
like
with the river going, like if you've been on, we went kayaking on the Colorado River with all of like the big walls of rock on either side, and it's just like huge walls of rock. And
yeah,
I'd imagine that it probably in the beginning for a mountain river, it's really painful because in the beginning, it's like you're just water going over landscape, and then slowly over time, it takes time to actually start making that. But once you do, it's like it's this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my hand motions, but I'm making hand motions for the podcast listeners. It's making this methodology, this framework that you're just channeling water through. Is that what it is?
totally. Yep, exactly. And if you think of how a mountain river starts, it starts from a bunch of streams, like different streams coming in and adding to it and making it larger and making it larger. And so I like to think of the streams as like your lineages. So often a mountain river is someone who's like creating a new body of work or a new way of doing something, like maybe like a new meditation style, for example. And their lineages are all these, oh, like, this type of meditation style, this type of yoga, this type of family environment. And they're really blending all that stuff in for their specific methodology. One of the downsides of being a mountain river, I know personally, is that just as you were saying, Sam, how you end up in this flowing awesome channel, you actually can, because you're in that, you don't have like the bird's eye view perspective, you don't have the perspective from the top of the hill, so you actually have a hard time seeing where you fit into things. Mountain rivers are some of the people that have the hardest time valuing their work. They're not they're often having a hard time with like business structure and business strategy because they're just so in their type of work that they don't see the bigger picture and like where their mountain river is in the entire mountain range or in the entire continent. They're kind of like in it.
It reminds me of an Instagram reel I watched the other day when I was doing Instagram reel research of someone who's like, I quit my job to start my own business so I can be doing X, Y, and Z all the time. And then I realized that I'll only do that 10 to 20% of the time because I have to do all of these other business things. So like the mountain river just wanting to like do their thing. So I'm guessing for all of these, building a team is really important, I'm assuming.
Yep. Building a team is really important. Like strategy coaches and like business management coaches, like me. Like I took your ABI program and I'm a mountain river, and it's like, that's it. Like that those teachings about, oh, how to really structure business and how do businesses really work and how does marketing work and how does hiring a team work and some of these things like that. That kind of stuff's really helpful for mountain rivers. It also makes me good at my job because being a mountain river, I had to learn all these things. So now the people that are mountain rivers tend to find me and I'm like, oh yeah, I learned it. I got it. Like we can talk. I get it. I get where you're at. I know. I've been there.
Okay. So what's our number 4?
Let's do desert lightning storm. So a desert lightning storm, you might think to yourself like a lightning storm doesn't form land, but it's actually like desert storms that form so much of the remarkable like red rock deserts, especially in the US. We have a lot of red rock deserts, but it can look like different structures in different places, different types of deserts. But these lightning storms, this like torrential pour of water and then nothing for a long time, is a big reason that the desert looks the way it does. So the desert lightning storm people, they get flashes of insight and flashes of downloads, like these torrential rains. So they'll have a week or a day where like download after download, insight after insight, creativity, like just in it, like they're in the flow, and then they go like radio silent, or they feel like they do. And so for them, like some the blessings are that they have this amazing connection with inspiration and their deepest self and what wants to come through. And the downside is that in the modern world, like you don't really get to have a business that just turns off for a month and then is back for a week and turns off. So for them, it's really about like having other people on their team that are actually kind of as high as them, handling different departments. So they're really like the creative lead, but they can truly go offline for a week, and the business is okay. So they need, yeah. So they need to set up different structures than other people, like different client structures. Because if they try to just show up and show up and show up, their inspiration leaves.
Like a dry desert.
Like a dry desert. Yep.
Yeah. Do you have any examples of people for this?
I have examples of people in my own mind.
Okay.
But yeah,
how have they found
it's interesting.
success? It was building a team is what helped them get to success.
Yes, but it's not just a team, because like every one of these needs a team. It's kind of like what positions do you put people in, and what are different people's responsibilities, and who are you looking for? So like for these type of people, they need someone who can truly like handle this Instagram account, or truly handle everything that's needed for a program they're running. Mm-hmm. So they can come in and out, and they need to be able to like take like someone who can take all their downloads and then bite size it out into like understandable material for their clientele.
Seems like a good one for like writers or authors. Like that would be yeah.
Yep.
What's our number 5?
Number 5 is ocean seafloor spreading. And this is something that most people don't know is going on because it's under the water. So right now, the entire length of the Atlantic Ocean from the North Pole to Antarctica is technically the longest mountain range on the entire planet. We don't know this because it's underwater, and most people aren't fascinated by these things. But the reason that's the largest mountain range in the world is because that it's actually a ridge where new magma is coming up from the inside of the earth and pushing both sides of the ocean out towards the continents. So the ridge is this new magma coming up and coming up and coming up and pushing out. And this phenomena is actually like a huge piece of plate tectonics moving. This force of new magma coming up and forming new ocean, pushing the old ocean to the side, is part of the cycle that has tectonic plates then sink back down and form new land. So the business owners that are ocean seafloor spreading are often the ones that are in really intense support roles. So like people who might run their own website building or like business management. I see a lot of like online business managers who hold this, because what they're doing is fairly invisible to most people. But in their mind, they have attention on so many things, and what they're doing is the reason that everything is moving.
That's good. What a perfect metaphor that it's all happening underwater and so much is happening, so we don't even see it.
You don't even see it. Yeah, even their clients will be like, I hear this all the time. I don't really know what you do for me with technology, or I don't really know what you do for me with business management, but whatever you do, keep doing it. Like, let me know if you need a raise.
So this is such a important advice for anyone who does services, implementation services for other businesses, is most times for CEOs and business owners, once you hand something off, it's gone from your brain. You do not think about it, unless like it's like something you're kind of in control of or worried about. But for like, okay, I want someone to comment back on all my comments on Instagram and check this email inbox, and like all the little things that end up taking, I don't know, a 40-hour week. It's just like doesn't exist because we don't see it. And so if you can, for service providers in that position, if you can on a weekly basis send an email of this is all that got accomplished, or on a monthly basis, like just a reminder, like this is all that we did this month. So important for reinforcing your values, because like once it's delegated, it's like non-existent in the brain.
Totally. Totally. Yep. Well said. Yeah. I feel like your business a couple years ago, when you were doing pure marketing, like consulting and marketing help for people before Dirty Alchemy was growing, I feel like you probably would have identified more as this ocean seafloor spreading person. But yeah, now you're in, this next kick-ass chapter
It's
of
true.
life.
I remember, and I don't know if it was a Saturn return thing or if it was just working through unprocessed trauma around visibility. But I remember, I think it was like 25 at the time, or maybe it was 26. But I was like, I want to be a right-hand woman. I want to be the advisor behind the scenes. I want to be someone who, like, I don't want to be front and center. I just want to have this deep impact on this business that I care so much about. And that's still important to me, but there's like other things have birthed too. So it's just interesting just over time how it sounds like people can change. Yeah, this isn't like a inherent thing, or like some of it's inherent, some of it could be impacted by trauma.
Yeah,
Like,
I would say under it all, I would say it's pretty inherent in a certain way under it all.
Yeah.
But I think depending on the spot you are in life, one might show itself more than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's our number 6? Final one.
Number 6. Dun 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 dun. Number 6 is a rift valley. So examples of rift valleys are the Great Rift Valley in Eastern Africa, which is where people came from. Just putting it out there. I think it's fascinating that the Earth had this rift valley thing going on, and that's where humanity formed. That could be a whole other long Elyna ramble another day. But another example closer to my home, or people that are in the United States, is Death Valley. Is kind of the beginning of a rift valley. So rift valleys are quite phenomenal. It's actually a process of new magma as well coming up from the mantle of the earth into the crust and spreading apart. That process spreads apart the continent. It makes the surface thinner and it pulls apart mountain ranges, and over time actually separates a continent in two, and forms a sea. The Great African Rift Valley is much, much further along in this process. And for the Rift Valley business owners and creators and thinkers, they're really fascinating to me. This was an interesting one to come up with because I've actually worked with a lot of people like this. It's one of my favorite type of people to support, because they're bringing something totally new into the world. And they tend to be incredibly insightful and intelligent. And one of their specialties is holding polarities, like seamlessly being able to hold black and white, or different versions of something. And the way this physically shows up in a rift valley is that on like Death Valley is the lowest point in the entire United States. It's like 30 feet under sea level or something. Don't quote me on that, but it's the lowest point is under sea level. But when you actually go to Death Valley and you're standing in Badwater Basin, which is the lowest point, towering mountains are on both sides of you. And so it's like, yeah, to be able to be in the lowest low and the highest high at the same time, the sense of knowing both polarities. And Rift Valley people tend to be really deep practitioners, like that sense of the deepest valley. They wanna go to the bottom of something. They wanna know their own transmission, their own teachings to the core. Sam and I also both are connected with Carolyn Elliott, who many of you listening to this podcast may or may not know. But I think of Carolyn also as a Rift Valley. And people that are Rift Valleys actually tend to be more private. They don't actually want their their private lives on the public screen, and they kind of need that privacy in order to go to the depths that they do, which is what they teach about. And people that are Rift Valleys, their clients or their customers or the people interested in what they're teaching really like to know about their practices. They really like to know, like, what is this person doing behind the scenes to have had this type of transformation?
The one that came to my head when you're talking about all of these is like, would glaciers be one of them?
You know, right? The thing about this quiz is it's still so alive. Like
Uh-huh.
I think like this right now it is what it is,
Mhm.
but this thing is evolving and for
Yeah.
sure going to show its new forms. But yeah, glaciers actually popping into my head too. Like when you actually think of how land
Mhm.
changes and is formed and moves, glaciers are huge.
Uh-huh.
Like the entire, I mean, I live in Northern California, and the entire Sierras have been carved by glaciers. Like Yosemite,
Yeah.
Yosemite is all glacier carved.
You think that a lot of this is an inherent part of a person where it's the natural way that they create? Um, do you think there's value in understanding the other and learning from the other kinds? Or is it better to
I,
just reinforce and strengthen your own creative flow?
in true Rift Valley fashion, I would say it's both. I think, I think,
That's the mountain river.
yeah, I think knowing how you naturally create and your like these to me are your greatest strengths. It is inherent. It is how your brain thinks. Um, I think, yeah, I would say number one. Number one is actually knowing how you create and setting your teams, your systems, your structures, your products, setting it up based on that. And I think that there's a lot that we can learn from each other. So, like, just as I've learned a lot from you about shield volcano thinking, it's like, right, but it's a foreign language to me. Like, I've had to adapt it, I've had to put it in my calendar. If my entire business had originally been structured based off of that, like, I'd feel contorted inside of it. I wouldn't be able to trust my gut. I wouldn't be able to follow my intuition. Um, I'd feel like I had to like wake up and show up in a different way to everything. So I think bits of that is super helpful and super great and growth edges and ways to go to new levels. But under it all, my belief is to set things up how you naturally do it.
So that's something that I know that you work with clients with. So do you have any advice on how to give yourself permission to make a business 100% based off of you?
Yeah, gosh, how to give people permission to do that. I think in a certain way I might just be a bit of walking permission to do that.
Yeah.
Not even so much like, oh, you're doing it, therefore I can do it. Not so much that, more just like, it's what I'm interested in. It's like the questions I ask them. And it's like, it's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of is how do they actually want their days to go? Like, what is a good day for them? When do they get their creativity? Where do they get replenished? Strategizing back from that. But yeah, this sense of permission. I mean, this sounds really terrible, but often it's like I think you can get the permission by often just looking at your life and being like, is this working? And the answer is often no. No, it's not. Like the current way business is taught and structures and systems are taught tend to not work for women.
Yeah.
Especially women that are like doing something new and creative that is based on their inner guidance. Like if you're following your inner guidance in what you're teaching and creating and building, like you kind of have to set your life up to be able to hear that guidance. Otherwise, like your biggest asset in your business is off the table.
Hmm. Well, what's interesting is so um, one of the women who's joining the next round of the Alchemical Business Intensive is a business coach herself. And like on her application, she wrote, like, I was hesitant about signing up because, like, what is it to say that a business coach needs a business coach? And I was like, I feel so opposite around that. How can we see our own minds and like getting things out of our head and having someone else be able to do what you do for other people, you can't do for yourself? Um, and
That's exactly how I feel.
yeah, there's so much value in being able to have someone else point out to you, like, this isn't like, this is not working for you, like you can do it this other way, you need help in that way. And anyways.
I totally agree. For me, the same things that I'm brilliant at, I actually have the hardest time with myself.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Mountain River, classic. Hanging out in the canyon, can't see.
I'm underwater.
I wonder what's over there. I wonder what's over that ridge. I wonder if
I
other
can't
people
see
do
above the
this.
surface either.
Yep. Yep.
So another thing you've mentioned in our conversations together is the concept of you seeing so many female business owners being dehydrated. Can you explain that concept?
Mm. Oh yeah, gosh.
Because I haven't heard anyone else use that terminology, so I just want to hear. I found it so interesting.
Oh yeah. I say that all the time. Yeah, this is a really good practice. I think these are the kind of things that my body knows so well, and putting it into words, ways that this sense of dehydration shows up is like tired, cranky, frustrated, irritable, and you might even be smiling and making all your appointments and stuff, but inside you just feel drained. This sense of like when we get hydrated, when we get replenished, when we get fully nourished, which often, um, like for me, some of my things are hanging out, literally hanging out at a mountain river. Like that's where you'll find me a couple times a week. I have to carve it out in my schedule. I mean, that sounds beautiful. Like, yeah,
I live on Maui. It's just like the success path, the Bloom Lucid success path. You have to spend time.
Go live. Live on a big active volcano. Shout out to volcanoes. Go hang out at Mount Rainier. See what's up. Yeah. So like, yeah, for you, like I see like in your Instagram stories going to the ocean, but like, I mean, I'm gonna be super blunt, but like one of mine is really good sex.
Yeah.
Like if I'm having enough really not just sex, but like I've had to learn, like I feel like a whole like decade long of practice for me has been figuring out what actually nourishes me. And it's not the same things that I thought it was, like sometimes it's being alone and reading and journaling, but other times it's like going to a party or being really social. And I find that when women have enough of it, our intuition is really heightened. Like we're like, oh yeah, this thing needs to move. This thing in my business I don't actually care about anymore. Yes, I want to move forward with that program. No, I don't care about this thing anymore. And it's like, it seems so counterintuitive because when we're dehydrated, um, and don't have that nourishment, like that's often when we feel overwhelmed, like we cannot get enough off of our plate, like we're behind in everything. It makes no sense when you're feeling that way to like put down your computer and do these things to nourish you. Um, Yet weirdly, again and again, I see it in me and so many people I work with. Like when it happens and you come back to your computer, what would have taken you 45 minutes takes you 20.
Yeah.
It's like you're clear and you have really strong discernment. Um, so I hope that kind of answered
Yeah.
the
So
hydration versus
I
dehydration.
well, I'm such a word person, and it's funny, the little tiffs I get with Eddie are usually around semantics, and he's like, "You know what I mean? That's not what you said." Like
Oh
don't
my
say
god.
that
Oh
because
my
like
god.
words are just like such a big thing for me. So I like it's stuck in my head the concept of being dehydrated, and even yesterday I was thinking about it just as because I use the word juicy in copy a lot. I just like it's my own like version of like I feel like all women business owners they want to feel or all women just want to feel juicy. And I was like, oh, so this is kind of the opposite of being dehydrated.
Yeah,
So that's what I was asking
exactly.
about. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, like juicy peach versus like jerky, dehydrated jerky leather. I don't know.
Totally. And when I think of dehydrated too, like when I think of land, I think of like dust, like the dust bowl. You know, you think of think of that whole era and people having to move and the land was not fertile anymore. And it's called the
Yeah.
Dust Bowl because literally the wind would come through and the ground was so dry that the dust would just whip up and the topsoil would be washed away.
Yeah.
Um, that's yeah, kind of another example of it.
Mhm. Mm. So
Yeah.
So you joined the Alchemical Business Intensive as you were starting to transition from a successful six-figure business. So you like have created a business and making good money off of it. And then you have been in the process of birthing Bloom Lucid, which is a more like soul fulfilling birthing process. And I wanted to ask what's been like the most, because I feel like a lot of people would think, well, like you made a successful business before, like they're of course, like making another one is just going to be so easy. You just like, like one over there, one over there. Um, you know,
I mean,
so
I would like to. Sure, I'd like to think so. I'll
what was the
try to
biggest
take on that.
surprise in making that transition for you? Like what came up so much?
I think one of the biggest things that came up is my previous business, which was like business support, like inside of other 6 and 7 figure businesses inside of their business as support in a variety of ways. I felt like that was a lot, even though my clients would honestly probably not say that this is true. In my head, that was a lot more about doing,
Hmm.
like what I can provide and what I can do and what I can make happen and showcase, and like actions, like kind of yeah, like an hourly rate because I'm literally doing things in
Yeah.
that hour, you know. And this and Bloom Lucid, um, although I'm also doing things to me it's been a mental shift to from doing to being,
Hmm.
um, and I actually think that that's just a vital thing for all women business owners to make the shift. I think the current world just tells us to do and do and do, but like often our greatest contribution is actually the sense of who we are and
Yeah.
what it spurs in people and makes happen. Um, but for me, like I felt like if I had been trying to make this shift for a few years, and I had been ruminating on it. And for me, like I knew that I needed a container to help, because I had been in my own mind with it long enough that it moved from being helpful and good thinking to like, okay, this is now draining energy and this thing actually needs to get out of me.
Mhm. Mm. So just being surprised that something that you felt was an inspired thought would be hard to come out of you.
I like to make a lot of sense. Like you with like I don't know if it's the same with you in the words, but like I like to be smart and I like to make sense. And I like, yeah, the second word in the company's name is lucid. Like, lucid matters to me. Lucidity, having things be comprehensible and understandable. And, like, yeah, recently I just literally looked up the definition of lucid, and it's like things that are easy to understand. um, and for me, it was and has been in certain ways nerve wracking to get my own business that's more, yeah, soul based, or I'd also call it off the beaten path.
Mhm.
And yeah, how to combine deep earth and uh, women in business. And it's been nerve wracking because I've wanted to figure out how to have it make sense, because in my body and in my mind it makes sense, but I'm a really somatic body based person, so it's like, okay, I feel how they're so in line and so interwoven, but like how the hell to put that in words, how to explain that to people. And so that's been one of my, like, in reality, it's actually going quite well and I'm having a good time with it because I took some of the internal pressures off. But in my mind, that's been like one of the hardest things to get over.
Yeah. I mean, you're still laying the path as a mountain river.
Yeah, 'cause I hope that people can understand. Yeah, now that you've heard about a mountain river, it's like when you hear me talk, you're like, oh, so classic mountain river right there.
Well, it's like it kind of reminds me of the how when people talk about reprogramming your brain and like all you need to do is like change which neurons are connecting to the other ones, and like once you have this path that continue, that's why habits are hard to change, and because there's a laid path, so suddenly at the beginning of creating a mountain river the path hasn't been created, but after time and consistency and belief and like all the things, it almost seems like it's like a quick fire neuron. But I also found it interesting with the transition from doing to being. That's super duper common. It's so common, but I think it can be a perspective shift that happens quickly, just in the sense that as you continue working with successful businesses, most business owners are like, if I can feel better in my business and it's going to take less time, I don't care how. Like if it's just you telling me like to do X, Y, and Z, it like that is useful enough versus like, will you do these things for me?
Totally. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Being. Okay, so one of my favorite questions to ask at the end is if you have any favorite recent purchases for business and for pleasure, that you can share with us.
Oh, yeah. For business, I just purchased like a $400 fancy chair. I'm currently sitting on it. And to me, in a certain way, I'm like, $400 for a chair? Like that's a lot for a chair. But I scoured the internet and like nothing compared, and it's beautiful, and it's gold and white, and I feel like a quick like bad boss bitch, even though that's really, I don't identify with that at all in a certain way, but I feels good. I feel lush. That's a better word. That's much more me. I feel very lush in this chair. Um, and then a personal purchase.
How about Empress? Empress vibes?
Yeah, Empress vibes. The Empress, modern day Empress. Modern day Empress. Um, my personal recent purchase was a new perfume, and it's the first time that I've changed my scent in like 4 or 5 years. I
Oh,
tried it on in this local store that I love, and then my fiance, because as you know, Sam, I'm recently engaged.
So
It's
exciting.
very fun.
It's so exciting.
He's really into scents, and he was like, "Are you wearing something new?" And I was like, "Oh, I am. You know, I put on this tester at this store, this wonderful local female-owned store, and he was like, "I'm so into it. It's so complex, and it turns me on, and it it's alluring to me." And so I went and got it, and we're really into budgeting right now. And so we have a line. We have like a line in our budget that's called "Treat the Goddess," which is the line that when I purchase like kind of unexpected, lovely things for myself, they go under "Treat the Goddess."
I love it. I mean, that's what I would always do is fun Sam things. That was the line item.
Yeah. His is,
But I
yeah,
like
his
treat
is
the
like
goddess
Chris's
more.
fun money. Totally. And mine's like "Treat the Goddess." Dun 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 dun.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, love it. Well, thank you so much, Elyna. This was so fun. Everyone go check out Alina's quiz and tell us. We want to know what kind of earth creation force you are. And Elyna, how can
Yes.
they work with you? Where can they find you on the internet? All the things.
Great question. Yeah, take the quiz. I think it's a great place to start, and just get a flavor of me. So bloomlucid.com, right away, you'll see a button to take the quiz. And then I'm actually doing free Bloom Lucid diagnostics right now until they fill up and I don't feel like doing them free anymore. But with that said, yes, if you would like a diagnostic on your business and just kind of seeing which places of it are stuck, like if you're basically, you would be wanting to have your business feel easeful and in flow. And if it feels like that, great, you really don't need me. And if it doesn't feel like that, then please sign up for a diagnostic, and I'd love to help figure out with you what could be some of the places where things aren't moving based off of how you naturally create.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elyna.
You're so welcome, Sam. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, do you have any final words of wisdom for the audience, for the people listening in?
I would say that I think the genius of how to create and grow and build things comes from the earth and is really overlooked. And our modern day really focuses on the masculine top, like looking above, and that so much of your power can be used for what you want it to be used for. At this point, our feminine lineages have mostly been burned. And so it's like going straight to the source, skipping all the lineages, skipping all the teachings that may or may not be available, and just looking straight at the earth with modern science and just seeing how does it actually work and what can we learn from it as women so we feel better and stronger and more empowered. And the thing under all of this that moves me is that with all the problems on the planet that there are, all the environmental problems, I actually think one of the biggest ways to combat them is for women following their guidance, because the earth gave you that guidance to begin with. So like your desires are actually from the earth. Like your desires are in your body, and the earth gave you this body. So if you can listen to those desires, like that's earth giving you those desires. And so to me, that's like our biggest chance at changing things.
Love it. Okay, everyone, go journal on what your deep desires are. Okay, have a good week.
Bye.